Hello students, today I'm going to start with the new concept that is from the unit ecology. So as the unit ecology consists of four different chapters, but for this year syllabus we know it is reduced and you are going to study only two chapters within this four chapters. So that is, one is organisms and population and another chapter is biodiversity and conservation. So today we are going to deal with the chapter that is biodiversity and its conservation. Okay. Okay, so these are the topics to be discussed in this chapter, that is levels of biodiversity, or we can call it as types of biodiversity, numbers of species on earth, that is we are going to understand the biodiversity in the world as well as the biodiversity in India. Okay, so next, the patterns of biodiversity, how this biodiversity is present in the environment we are going to study. Loss of biodiversity, what are the losses faced by the biodiversity and what is the reasons, cause for the loss of biodiversity we are going to study, and at the end how we are going to conserve the biodiversity we are going to study. Okay, so first we'll start with the definition. We know simple, the biodiversity is called as a species richness. Okay, there is richness of the species present in a area, we call it as biodiversity, or it is also called as a diversity of biological organization ranging from cellular macromolecules to the biomes. Means that is a diversity means a vaividhyate, and biodiversity we can call it as jiva vaividhyate. So what is this diversity meant? The diversity always ranging from a cellular level, means from genes or the DNA or a biomolecule, it is ranging till the biome, means biosphere, complete whole earth. Okay, or different biomes. This range or diversity within them we call it as biodiversity, and this biodiversity word or the term is popularized by the scientist called as Edward Wilson. Okay, this is important. So now, levels of biodiversity or the types of biodiversity. There are three levels of biodiversity: genetic diversity, species diversity, and ecological diversity. So we'll start with the genetic diversity. So this is the diversity at the genetic level. Okay, so this genetic level will be including a single species. ಒಂದು ಸಿಂಗಲ್ ಸ್ಪೀಷೀಸನ್ನು ತಗೊಂಡಾಗ ನಾವು ಅವರಲ್ಲಿರುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಜೆನೆಟಿಕ್ ಲೆವೆಲಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ವೈವಿಧ್ಯತೆ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಜೆನೆಟಿಕ್ ಡೈವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. Okay, and here what happens, example here it has given what, the Rolfia vomitoria, it is one of the medicinal plant. ಸೊ ಈ ಮೆಡಿಸಿನಲ್ ಪ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಟ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಇದು ಹಿಮಾಲಯಾಸಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಗುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಸೊ ವಿ ನೋ ದೆರ್ ಆರ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಹಿಮಾಲಯನ್ ರೀಜನ್. ಆಲ್ ದ ಹಿಮಾಲಯನ್ ರೀಜನ್ ಕನ್ಸಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಕೈಂಡ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ Rolfia vomitoria species, and how they show the genetic variation means they secrete a chemical called reserpine. Okay, and the concentration of this chemical secretion will be different in the different species present in the different Himalayan ranges. So this is what we call it as genetic diversity. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಅವರೆಲ್ಲೋ ಜೀನ್ಸ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಜೆನೆಟಿಕ್ ಲೆವೆಲಲ್ಲಿ ಡೈವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಆ ಒಂದು ರೋಲ್ಫಿಯಾ ವೊಮಿಟರಿಯಾ ಏನಿದೆ, ದೇ ಆರ್ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಹಿಮಾಲಯನ್ ರೇಂಜಸ್. ಆ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಹಿಮಾಲಯನ್ ರೇಂಜಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅವರ ಜೆನೆಟಿಕ್ ಮೇಕಪ್ಪಲ್ಲಿ ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ ದರ್ ಜೆನೆಟಿಕ್ ಮೇಕಪ್ ದೇ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ದ ರೆಸರ್ಪೈನ್ ಕೆಮಿಕಲ್. ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಷನ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ ಇರುವಂಥದ್ದು. ದಟ್ ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಷನ್, changes in the concentration or variation in the concentration is because of the genetic makeup, variations in the genetic makeup. Here you can see this is the example of the plant of Rolfia vomitoria. Okay, so one more examples are in India. In India only we can find how many strains of rice and mangoes, right? ಎಸ್, ಹಿಯರ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸಿ ಬೋತ್ ರೈಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಮ್ಯಾಂಗೋಸಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸಗಳಿವೆ. ಈ ವೆರೈಟೀಸ್ನ ಹೇಗೆ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ? ಜೆನೆಟಿಕ್ ಮೇಕಪ್ಪಲ್ಲಿ ಚೇಂಜಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ. ದೇ ಡೂ ದ ವೇರಿಯೇಷನ್ಸ್ in the genetic level, hence we get different change strains or varieties of rice as well as mango. Okay, next level is species diversity, means here the diversity is at the level of species. Okay, example amphibian species na tagondaga ee amphibian species li diversity hegirutte. ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ನ್ ಘಾಟ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಈಸ್ಟರ್ನ್ ಘಾಟ್ಸನ್ನು ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಇನ್ ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ನ್ ಘಾಟ್ಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಸ್ಪೀಷೀಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ದ ಗ್ರೇಟರ್ ವೆರೈಟೀಸ್ ಕಂಪೇರ್ಡ್ ಟು ದ ಈಸ್ಟರ್ನ್ ಘಾಟ್ಸ್. ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟುಡ್? And next, third level is ecological diversity, the diversity at the ecosystem level. Okay, we know in India there are different kinds of ecosystem. Deserts ಇಂದ ಹಿಡಿದು alpine meadows ಅಂತ ಅಂತೀವಿ. Here I had given the example with the best pictures: desert, rainforest, mangroves, estuaries, coral reefs, wetlands and alpine meadows. Okay, all these regions, these are the different ecosystem. Desert ಅನ್ನೋದು ಒಂದು ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಎಕೋಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್, ರೈನ್ ಫಾರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಒಂದು ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಎಕೋಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್. ಈ ಎಕೋಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಡೈವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಇರುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಇವಾಗ ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಡೆಸರ್ಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ರೈನ್ ಫಾರೆಸ್ಟ್. Okay, if we compare desert and rainforest, the diversity will be change. Compared to the desert, the diversity of the species are more in rainforest. Why? Because in the rainforest they have got a favorable condition for the growth. Hauda? So hagagi, so there are the diversity of the species at the ecosystem level. Okay, next, yes, we are going to understand the number of species on earth globally as well as, yes, in India, how this species diversity is important. According to an organization, that is IUCN, this expansion is very important, they may ask in question. Okay, expand IUCN anta keltare, it is very important, 1 marks question. IUCN is International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources. According to this IUCN, at 2004, what they have described the species diversity, that is more than 1.5 million, they said, according to IUCN at 2004. Okay, but according to a scientist called Robert Mays, he estimated globally that is about 4 million species are present on the earth. Okay, and he considered the species to be discovered in the tropics, that is only 22% of total species have been recorded so far. Andre artha enu andre globally he estimated that is about 7 million species, but he said only 22% only he estimated. Okay, see, remaining how many percentage should be estimated? Still we don't know how many species, what kind of species, what are those names, still unknown. Okay, yes, so animals are more diverse. So based on, he is a global estimation, this is about global species diversity. Globally animals are more diverse, like in 100%, 70% are animals. Okay, and 22% are plants along with the fungi. Okay, among animals there are 70% of animals. Among animals, insects are more, hence arthropods are called as the largest phylum. We know why it is the largest phylum, because arthropod consists of lot of species. Okay, they are species diversity in the arthropods are more, insects are more. So hence within the animals only 70% are insects. Okay, 30% are remaining in chordates, non-chordate, fishes, amphibians, reptiles. Here molluscans, echinoderms will include in 30%. So hence by this we can say out of every 10 animals, 7 are insects. Okay, so next, number of fungi species is more than the combined total of species of fishes, amphibians, reptiles and mammals. He said, okay, compared to the fishes, amphibians, reptiles, and mammals, here in the diagram you can see, okay, more number are fungi species. Okay. Next, we'll study the biodiversity in India. India has only 2.4% of world's land area, but 8.1 of the species diversity. Maybe the land area will be 2.4%, but yes, the species diversity covers 8.1 percentage. And India considered as one of the 12th mega diversity countries. Okay, this is the biggest achievement, like 12th mega diversity countries. Nearly 45 species of plants and twice as many of animals are present. Okay, and applying the Robert Mays global estimates, India would have more than 1 lakh plant species and 3 lakh animal species. Based on his estimation, we can consider plant species is of 1 lakh and animals are 3 lakh. Why? Because of, we know 70% are animals because of his global estimation, and 22% are plants and fungi. Remember. Okay. Yes. Next, there are some issues regarding this naming or classification or estimation. Why? Because of the biologists or scientists are not sure about the total number of prokaryotes. Prokaryote means bacteria especially. Okay, because the conventional taxonomic methods, convention means old traditional taxonomic methods, are not suitable for identifying this microbial species. What they are applied, no, the old traditional methods of classification, nomenclature, characterization, that step or that method will not apply for the estimation of microbes. Why? Because of, we know microbes divide vigorously. Okay, because they are unicellular organisms, they reproduce or divide by cell division, or we can call it as a fission, right? And this fission, in some species it may be they divide one bacteria into two bacterias, they'll take 20 minutes, but some bacterias within seconds only they can divide into thousands. Then how we are going to calculate them? It is very difficult, right? Number will be varied. So because of this reason, the biologists are not sure about the total number of prokaryotic species. Okay. Yes. So next is patterns of biodiversity. There are two patterns you are going to study. One is latitudinal gradients, another is species area relationship. Okay, patterns means we are going to study how there is a diversity in which pattern there is diversity. One pattern is based on the latitudes. Okay, latitudes means when earth, here you can see, when a globe, okay, how the latitudes are calculated. This will be the earth's equator, and these are the two poles, one is south pole and north pole. Okay, these are the latitudes. Yes, these are the latitudes. Based on the latitudes, gradients, we know gradients is none other than concentration. Okay, what it says, latitudinal gradients, species diversity always decreases from equator to the poles. If this is considered as equator, from the equator, when we go towards the pole, no, the species diversity will be decrease, means it indicates more number of species near the equator and less number of species near the poles. These poles are, we call it as a temperate regions, and near the equator we call it as tropic region. Okay, understood now what is temperate and tropic? Near the equator, the latitudes we call it as tropics, and at the poles, it may be north or south pole, it is called as temperate. In other way, what we can tell, species are more in tropical region compared to the temperate region, or species are more at the equatorial region and species are less towards the polar region. Understood? Here you can see tropic range or tropics have more species than temperate or polar areas. These are temperate and these are polar areas. Understood? Okay, so we'll understand some this latitudinal gradients along with the examples. Okay, these are few examples. One example is the birds species diversity. Okay, Colombia comes near the equator, India in the tropic. Okay, New York and Greenland are in the temperate or polar regions. Can you see the number of bird species? Near the equator and tropics, the bird species are more compared to the polar or temperate regions. Yes, so we can say near the equator or tropics, the species diversity is more, and towards the poles or temperate regions, species diversity is less. Okay, so here you can see one more example. You can read that. You can give one or two examples for that. Understood? Okay, yes. And for latitudinal gradient, no, so one area, one region is very important for a biodiversity view, that is tropical rainforest, Amazonian rainforest, which is present in South America, which has the greatest biodiversity on earth. Okay, on earth, this tropical Amazonian rainforest has the greatest biodiversity. What are those greatest biodiversity? These are the estimation: 40,000 of plants, 3,000 of fishes, yes, 1,300 birds, 427 mammals, 427 amphibians, 378 reptiles, and 1,25,000 invertebrates. Okay, this shows the greater biodiversity on the earth. Example is tropical Amazonian rainforest, where where this Amazonian rainforest is located, South America. Okay, yes, what is the reason why the species richness in the tropical region? So this is the tropical region near the equator, this is the temperate one, and at the tip these are the polar, temperate and polar. Why in a tropical region there is more species? The reasons are, there are three reasons. Tropic had more evolutionary time, means when there is evolution, no, when the animals or plants are evolving, tropical region has got more time for evolution, okay, compared to temperate and polar region. So the next is relatively, means compared to the temperate and polar region, tropical region has a constant environment, means there is no changes in seasons, there is no much seasonal changes. Because of this, there will be steady development of species. Okay, and the next region, the tropical side got more solar energy compared to these two. Okay, compared to temperate and polar, tropical regions, they received the more solar energy. We know why the solar energy is used for the photosynthesis, and we know plants are the main producers. If they won't produce, complete the nature will get disturbed, because many are dependent, consumers are dependent on producers. So hence, producers, if the producers productivity is increased, in turn the diversity will be more. Okay, because of three reasons, there is a highest biodiversity in the tropical region compared with the temperate and polar. Okay, so next is species area relationship. So this species area relationship is basically like based on this species area relationship explanation is actually based on thermodynamics. You know, all you have studied thermodynamics in chemistry, right? So it is basically on the thermodynamics second law. It depends on the second law of thermodynamics. Okay, yes. So we'll study what is that second law of thermodynamics. Based on, you need to elaborate some equations. So this species area relationship is given by the scientist Alexander von Humboldt, a South American, in South American jungles with the region. What he has said, species richness increases with increased explored area. Means whenever there is a large area, there is species richness, but only up to a limit. Like example, ಇವಾಗ ನಿಮ್ಮದೇ ಒಂದು ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ರೂಮ್ನ ತಗೊಳ್ರಿ. ಓಕೆ, ನಿಮಗೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಇಯರ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ರೂಮ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ದೊಡ್ಡದು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಯು ಅಡ್ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಸಮ್ ಮೋರ್ ಬೆಂಚಸ್ ದೇರ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಫಿಟ್ 50%. okay, 50 students easily with the proper comfortness, everyone can sit. Okay, just imagine if I add few more 50 there, so what happens? Okay, what happens? Yes, there is a limit, right? So here also what he has said, if the area is large, there we can see more species diversity, but with the limitation. Okay, but with the limitation. Those limitations are, it may be shelter, it may be food, means resources. Understood? Okay, we are going to study based on second thermodynamics, that is you know already slope of the line, that is a regression coefficient, that is logarithmic scale, y-intercept, everything. So based on this, he drawn the relationship between species richness and area, and he got a rectangular hyperbola which states S is equal to CA raised to Z, where S is species richness, A is area, C is y-intercept, and Z we know slope of the line, that will indicates the regression coefficient, right? So what is this power function? Okay, based on the slope of the line, that is regression coefficient, it ranges from, so here you can see it ranges from 0.1 to 0.2 in case of smaller areas. If the relationship between the species richness and area, if the slope or the Z value showed 0.1 to 0.02, 0.1 ಇಂದ 0.2 ರೇಂಜಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂತು ಅಂದರೆ ಝೆಡ್ ಅಥವಾ ಸ್ಲೋಪ್ ಅಥವಾ ಸ್ಟೀಪ್. ಓಕೆ, ದಿಸ್ ಇಂಡಿಕೇಟ್ಸ್ ದ ಸ್ಮಾಲರ್ ಏರಿಯಾಸ್. ಇಫ್ ಲಾರ್ಜ್ ಏರಿಯಾ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂದರೆ ಆ ಸ್ಲೋಪ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಲೈನ್ ಮೆಷರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಏನು ಬರುತ್ತೆ, 0.6 to 1.2. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಸ್ಲೋಪ್ ಇಂಡಿಕೇಟ್ಸ್? ಈ ಸ್ಲೋಪ್ ಏನು ಇಂಡಿಕೇಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ, ಓಕೆ, ಸ್ಪೀಷೀಸ್ ರಿಚ್ನೆಸ್ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಆನ್ ಏರಿಯಾ. ಈ ಸ್ಲೋಪ್ ಏನು ತೋರಿಸುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಸ್ಪೀಷೀಸ್ ಡೈವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಏರಿಯಾ ಮೇಲೆ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಇರುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಇವಾಗ ಹೈಯರ್ ಸ್ಲೋಪ್ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂದರೆ ಸ್ಪೀಷೀಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ, ಸ್ಪೀಷೀಸ್ ಡೈವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಏರಿಯಾ ಮೇಲೆ ತುಂಬ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಂಡಿಕೇಟ್ಸ್ ದ ಡಿಪೆಂಡೆನ್ಸಿ ಆಫ್ ಸ್ಪೀಷೀಸ್ ರಿಚ್ನೆಸ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಏರಿಯಾ ಇಫ್ ದ ಸ್ಲೋಪ್ ಈಸ್ ಹೈಯರ್. If the slope is lower, it indicates species richness is independent over the area. Understood? These two things you remember. Understood? Okay, so next is how much the species diversity is important. Species ಗಳ diversity ಅಷ್ಟು ಯಾಕೆ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಇದೆ? So there are two theories given by the two scientists. One is according to the David Tillman. Okay, plots with more species shows less year to year variation in biomass. Now we are going to study what is biomass. Okay, biomass is nothing but it is a organic, means the material or the production from the plants and animals. Plants ಮತ್ತು ಎನಿಮಲ್ಸ್ ಇಂದ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗೋ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಬಯೋಮಾಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಇವಾಗ ನೋಡ್ರಿ ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ಪ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಟ್ಸ್ they intake solar energy and they produce food by the process ಫೋಟೋಸಿಂಥಸಿಸಿಂದ ಫುಡ್ನ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಈ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಬಯೋಮಾಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಇವಾಗ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ಎನಿಮಲ್ಸ್ ಡೆತ್ ಆಯಿತು ಅಂದರೆ ದೇ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಡಿಕಂಪೋಸಿಂಗ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸಮ್ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಕ್ ಕಾಂಪೌಂಡ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ಇನ್ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಕ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಆ್ಯಡೆಡ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ದ ಸಾಯಿಲ್. ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಅ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಆರ್ ಅ ಬಯೋಮಾಸ್. ವಾಟ್ ಡೇವಿಡ್ ಟಿಲ್ಮನ್ ಸೆಡ್, ವೆನ್ ದೆರ್ ಈಸ್ ಮೋರ್ ಸ್ಪೀಷೀಸ್, ಆ ಏರಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಸ್ಪೀಷೀಸ್ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂದರೆ ಅವರಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗುವಂಥ ಏನು ಬಯೋಮಾಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅದು ವೇರಿಯೇಷನ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಇಯರ್ ಟು ಇಯರ್ ಆ ವೇರಿಯೇಷನ್ ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸಗಳು ತುಂಬ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಯಾವಾಗ ಸ್ಪೀಷೀಸ್ಗಳು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದ್ದಾಗ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ಡ್ ಡೈವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ತುಂಬ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂದರೆ ದ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿ ಕೂಡ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. He told that if there is a high species or high species diversity, the productivity means this biomass production is also high. And this biomass production is very important for ecosystem, healthy behavior of ecosystem ಇರ್ಬೋದು. ಹಾಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ರೇಸ್ ಸರ್ವೈವಲ್ಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಈ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಆ್ಯಸ್ ಐ ಸೆಡ್, ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸರ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ದೇರ್, ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ದೇರ್. When they undergo photosynthesis, they'll get the food, along with they liberate oxygen also, where the oxygen is needed for our respiration, breathing process, right? So hence, one or the other way, this productivity will help the human race also. And what he has said, if there is more species diversity, there will be more productivity and there is less variation in the productivity. This is very a positive point. Okay, so next theory is, which is given by the Paul Ehrlich, that is Rivet-Popper hypothesis. He has given some analogy, like his hypothesis he compared with the ecosystem. How he compared, we are going to study now. Okay, he compared an aeroplane with the ecosystem. ಅವನು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ದ, ಒಂದು ಏರೋಪ್ಲೇನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಎಕೋಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ಗೆ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ದ. ಓಕೆ, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಆಲ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಏರೋಪ್ಲೇನ್, ಆ ಏರೋಪ್ಲೇನಲ್ಲಿರುವಂಥ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ಸ್ಗಳು ಹೇಗೆ ಕನೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಹೇಳ್ರಿ, ಬೋಲ್ಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ನಟ್ಸ್ಗಳಿಂದ. ಈ ಬೋಲ್ಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ನಟ್ ಕಂಬೈನ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ರಿವೆಟ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಓಕೆ, ರಿವೆಟ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ರಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಆಲ್ ದಿಸ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಏರೋಪ್ಲೇನ್ಸ್, ಇಟ್ ಮೇ ಬಿ ವಿಂಗ್ಸ್, ಇಟ್ ಮೇ ಬಿ ಸೀಟ್ಸ್, ಎಲ್ಲನೂ ಶೀಲ್ಡ್ಸ್, ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲನೂ ಹೇಗೆ ಅಟ್ಯಾಚ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ರಿವೆಟ್ಗಳಿಂದ ಜಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. He compared those rivet as species. ಓಕೆ, ಏರೋಪ್ಲೇನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಎಕೋಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ಗೆ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ದ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ರಿವೆಟ್ಸ್ಗಳನ್ನು ಸ್ಪೀಷೀಸ್ಗೆ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವಾಟ್ ಹೀ ಸೆಡ್, ಇಫ್ ಅ ಪ್ಯಾಸೆಂಜರ್ ಪಾಪ್ ಅ ರಿವೆಟ್, ಓಕೆ, ಅಂದರೆ ಒಂದು ಪ್ಯಾಸೆಂಜರ್ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡಿರೋನು ಆ ಪ್ಲೇನಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ರಿವೆಟ್ನ ಪಾಪ್ ಔಟ್ ಅಂದರೆ ತೆಗೆಯುವಂಥದ್ದು ತೆಗ್ದ, ಅವನ ಸೀಟ್ ಹತ್ರ ಇರುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ರಿವೆಟ್ನ ತೆಗೆದ್ರೆ, ಸೊ ಇಫ್ ದರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ ಡ್ಯಾಮೇಜ್ ಫಾರ್ ಪ್ಲೇನಿಗೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಡ್ಯಾಮೇಜ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಇದನ್ನು ಹೇಗೆ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಪಾಪ್ ಅ ರಿವೆಟ್ನ ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟಿಂಕ್ಷನ್, ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಪೀಷೀಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟಿಂಟ್ ಆಯಿತು. ಓಕೆ, ಅಂದರೆ ಇಟ್ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್, ದ ಸ್ಪೀಷೀಸ್ ಗಾಟ್ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ದರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ ಮೋರ್ ಸ್ಪೀಷೀಸ್ ರೇಸ್. ಇವಾಗ ಹೇಗೆ ಟೈಗರ್ಸ್ಗಳು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟಿಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿದೆ, ಸೊ ಹಾಗೆ what he said, if any one species get extincted from the ecosystem, like ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಬ್ಬ ಪ್ಯಾಸೆಂಜರ್ ಅವನ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಸೀಟ್ ಹತ್ರ ಅಥವಾ ಅವನು ಕೂತಿರೋ ಸೀಟ್ ಹತ್ರ ಇರೋ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಬೋಲ್ಟ್ ನಟ್ನ ಅಥವಾ ರಿವೆಟ್ನ ತೆಗ್ದ ಅಂದರೆ ಆ ಪ್ಲೇನ್ಗೆ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಡ್ಯಾಮೇಜ್ಗಳು ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ನಾವು ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಕಂಪೇರ್, ಇಫ್ ಸಮ್ ಒನ್ ರಿಮೂವ್ಡ್ ದ ರಿವೆಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ವಿಂಗ್ಸ್, ಓಕೆ, ವಿಂಗ್ಸಲ್ಲಿರುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಓಕೆ ರಿವೆಟ್ಸ್ನ ಅವನು ಯಾರಾದರೂ ತೆಗೆದ್ರು ಅಂದರೆ, ಇಫ್ ದರ್ ಈಸ್ ನೋ ವಿಂಗ್ಸ್, ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್, ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಕಾಸ್ ಅ ಬಿಗ್ ಡ್ಯಾಮೇಜ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಏರ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್, ರೈಟ್? ಹೌ ಹಿ ಕಂಪೇರ್ಡ್, ಆ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಪೀಷೀಸ್ನ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಆಯಿತು ಅಂದರೆ ಬಯೋಡೈವರ್ಸಿಟಿಗೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಸ್ಪೀಷೀಸ್, ಓಕೆ, ಒಂದು ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರೋವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಪೀಷೀಸ್ನ ನಾವು ಎಕೋಸಿಸ್ಟಮಿಂದ ತೆಗೆದಾಗ it will affect a complete biodiversity, complete ecosystem. Like this he compared. He said rivet, pauper, hypothesis means we should maintain. ಇವಾಗ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಒಂದು ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಅರ್ಥನ್ನು ತೊಗೊಂಡಾಗ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ರಿ. ಎಲ್ಲ ಪ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಟ್ಸ್ಗಳ ನಾಶ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ನಾವು. ವಿ ರಿಮೂವ್ಡ್ ಆಲ್ ದ ಪ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಟ್ಸ್. ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ವಿ ಸರ್ವೈವ್? ನೋ, it's impossible. Okay, this is what he said. In a biosystem, or to maintain an ecosystem, or to maintain a nature, there are some species which are important, which maintain the ecosystem. Those species should not be extincted. We should save them, to save the natures, to save the earth. Understood? So this is what he said. Loss of rivets on the wings, okay, or the ski species, what happens? More dangerous to flight safety than the loss of few rivets on the seats or windows inside the plane. Understood? So like this he has given, or he said, the hypothesis. So these are the two hypotheses which is very important. They may ask in exam. Okay, so in the next class we are going to deal with the loss of biodiversity and the causes for the loss of biodiversity. Okay, thank you.